things every day like skate parks. So I understand that relationship, and that's important too.
And this was kind of one of the first larger projects where almost like where no engineering was involved.
Yeah.
Usually, a lot of times they take over, they did the bid packet and all that, and so this particular time was kind of a little different.
But I think the thing that we want the competitive bidding because that gives us the best price as a city.
Yeah.
To have somebody, we know there's some competition. And as far as it's not uncommon, if you only have a single bidder, they write the specs.
Mm-hmm.
But when they write the specs, guess what they do? They write the specs
Right.
so what they fit. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. But I think from a process question is, what is the park board's role when you decide that we make a decision that we want to go out and add another project on? Where does that competitive bid and that spec writing go? Does it come from the park board saying, we authorize going out for bids? Is this going to the council? What role do we play in this process?
Normal process probably would have been to come to you all. Like I said, that I just kind of, when they told me they had that opening, and if we could get it approved quick, they could get us in.
Yeah.
And being, I mean, kind of throughout the budget meetings and all that, everybody kind of knew I had phase
Well,
two.
I think also, if I could jump in there, I think also just the fact that the project was originally approved by you guys.
Yeah.
So, you know, in all reality, that from there can get hairy, and like it did. We had quite a bit of discussion about it, several meetings in the council. So I think more so is you guys approved the project, the phase two, right? You approved the budgets, you're aware of what he's got. In all of that, I think that's where, you know, we go to the council and say, all right. And then, again, I don't seem to have a problem with the bidding process on this. I think we'll come out where we want to be.
Well, here's the question I'm asking is, when we approve the process, should that initiate the bid process? Or does it go to council to get the bid process initiated?
I think it should. I think when we decide that we're moving forward, that should, step one is get a quote, right? Get a quote, find out where it's at. We ran into this with the Graham building and the air conditioners, right? We find out how much that project is going to cost. Okay, well, 4 new 10-ton units is going to cost us originally, the original quote was 80 grand. Okay, well, now I know I got to bid it out and we got to go seal bids, right? So with that, then we say, okay. So we get the quote, step one. So you guys approve it. Let's say we approve putting volleyball courts in, right? Let's just take this as far weird as we can. You say, hey, we want to put volleyball courts in. Frank's going to go get a quote, bring it to you guys and say it's going to be 70 grand, right? Okay, you guys are going to say yay or nay, then Frank's going to start that process. And I think at that's where Frank would say, given what it's going to cost, we're going to start seeking out the bids. And I think given where it falls price-wise is going to determine sealed bids, no sealed bids, or how that works.
So that's the matter of the process then after we've decided, okay, it makes sense to go spend $70,000 on a skate park, second part of that, and we approve that in a meeting. But at that point, all we've got is a quote that says, here's our best estimate.
I mean,
Of what you've heard is your best estimate of what you think it's going to be. And then you'll go to council, and the council will initiate the bid process and go out for bids and get it spec'd.
it's like,
Well, at the same time, you probably should do that before he goes to
well, we
council.
done splash pads.
Well, that's the question I'm asking here.
Yeah.
Bathrooms and the splash pads, you know, all that originated through the park board.
Right,
And once you approve me to go forward, the council, then we get, then, of course, those were engineering jobs. And then once you approve me to go forward, you know, then the engineer actually got approved, and then they're the ones that draw up the specs. Of course, I'm involved, but,
And with the change of engineers on what he's saying, change of engineering, when we went from Steve Powell to Dale Burke, Steve was by the job, or by the hour we paid. All of his engineering fees came out of the general fund for the most part. What we're finding is with Dale, different position in the company, he's president, CEO, he's principal. He bids his engineering into the price of the project. So a lot of like your street projects, where typically you'd see the street project and then an additional invoice for engineering, and Buddy had to budget for engineering, or even with Dennis's trails, that'll come up later, I'm sure. the engineering fees are included in the total cost of that project now. So instead of a $50,000 project, you're now gonna pay an $80,000 because it includes, it may seem higher, but we're not getting that $30,000 invoice later for engineering, it's included in the price. Which by the job, let me tell you, works so much better for us than by the hour, because it's a set price and we're done. And, you know, sometimes engineers by the hour can get a little crafty on how those hours are spent, and so it's been good. But I think with this one, ultimately, I think, hopefully to answer your question, we've got a meeting at 6:30, kind of moving along here, but I think as we look at that, when you guys approve the project and we know what that's gonna cost, as we refine our purchasing process right now as a city, as a council, we're gonna see that that's the point where he just is gonna say, we're gonna have to go out for bids. And the council will say, go out for bids. Park board, rec board, whatever, has approved the project. Now he's gonna go to the council and say, you guys have recommended that on, and then it'll go on to the council to say, okay,
So once
Let's
they
see
get the
bids.
bids, or the bids will come back to the appropriate
to the
committee?
council, yeah.
No, it'll come back,
So
he's
they'll-
saying it's
if
gonna
they're
come
not-
back to the council.
It'll come
If
back.
they're
to
not
Never come back.
sealed, then probably would come back to here.
Well,
We
no,
approve
I
a
think,
certain-
if you put yourself in a councilman's spot, the councilman's sitting there going, has the park board approved it? Number one. Number two is, do they know what the bid is? And what we're saying is, no, it's gonna be up to, your process is gonna be, the council will actually initiate that bid process.
Correct.
And they will reopen the bids in the council meetings,
Correct.
what I read. So we won't be doing that.
Well, I was just talking about if they weren't sealed, like, almost more like quotes, or just,
Yeah.
a lot of times.
Well, that's if it doesn't
That's
require a
what I'm saying.
bid,
That's-
yeah.
Yeah, but the bidding
Sealed
would,
bids.
yes, the bidding would go on to the council.
Usually the sealed
It
bids.
has to be sealed usually.
Yeah, in the past,
Depending
we
on
met
the
up here at
amount.
the engineer and
So.
opened them up with the contractor.
Correct.
So at what dollar amount does it go to sealed?
So I think we're 25,000 and up is what where we're at, so.
25, okay.
This one being that it was over 50 for that, that's why and I think that's appropriate, just keeps us safe. I don't have an issue with that. So again, that was kind of the thing, is that maybe phase one wasn't done. I don't know, we're past it, we
The-
move on, but
The
with this
company
one, that's where
included a
we're at.
letter like they were sole source type,
Right.
and then from there, we just went forward with it, and it got approved, so, but people's so this time it's a little different, but yeah.
So
I-
anything that's over 25,000, are we gonna have to suggest that it goes, I thought it was, is it not 50,000?
I think it is 50, I think the bidding is over the 25,
Okay,
and so that's where, yeah, sorry if I said that incorrectly, but yeah, 50 is the sealed.
And this
the
is
sealed
right
Okay.
at like $50,000 and a few $100, so, yeah,
Right.
their
okay.
original quote or whatever.
So if it's a very good project, then
We're just approving him to go forward as far as
Correct.
going to council to get approval for bid, I
So it's
guess.
completely different than what we've done in the past, because when we did stuff for Dennis on his golf carts, his
Right,
mowers, everything else, some of that stuff was $80,000 and $100,000, so it'll never see us then. We're just making a recommendation that they go out for bids.
now the mowers though, those are some things like, don't we have like, state
State bid or
State.
contract.
contracts on certain things, though, no?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, because
Well, and a lot of that unclarity that you guys are experiencing now, that some of the council, that's why we're putting an emphasis on coming up with a purchasing policy that is set in stone.
That-
And that way, it's there, it's clear, it'll help eliminate a lot of this. Well, but we've done it that way. Let me tell you, just because we've done it that way doesn't mean it's right. It also doesn't mean it's wrong, it's just, we need the clarity, we need the definition of saying, this is how it needs to be, and this is how we're
It's
gonna do it.
somewhat a change from what this body's been involved with. I mean, I haven't been involved to see the change, but if it is, I mean, it would be helpful to identify a flow chart on where we fit into this, so that after we get done with this
And
meeting, we have things
that process should allow for that, so I think that's, yeah, 100%.
so we know where we're at and know what we're doing here.
And I think that's what we'll get to here, is just trying to formalize this, so it's,
Yeah,
one group doesn't think the other group's already taken care of it. Because
exactly.
I know there are times that I've been approached where somebody on the council said, hey, I saw you guys approved this and doing this. And you're kinda like, well, yeah, we did, but the bid process, we need to work out the details. If you're expecting that we have done due diligence on this and had discussions and we've got a bid packet, that isn't the case, so we just need to formalize it. And I think that's what the council's pushing for that.
Yes, we're pushing to, well, it's, yeah, the collective is, we're trying to formalize, like, that's a good word, but yeah, come up with something that's set in stone that says this is our policy. And it'll be a hard copy,
So on
tangible.
that note,
Sorry.
though, with the hiring freeze and budget crunch, this is all I've got planned. So after this, like I said, I don't have any more, I don't have any more projects planned, so.
Any trunk or treat stuff going on at the park, by the way?
Any what?
Trunk or treat
Yeah,
stuff?
there's two things going on.
Did they talk to you and make
Yeah.
it okay?
Yeah, there's, one's using a specific shelter, and then there's actually the trunk or treat, I think with the.
A-bait.
I can't remember now.
A-bait?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it is A-bait.
yeah. So there's two things going on, and they're both aware of each other.
Are they both at Whitaker or is one?
Yeah,
at
Whitaker
Centennial?
Park. Yeah. So I don't
Is it-
foresee any issues.
And there's somebody at the park every morning with, trying to give out some type of
The,
You got this, I'm gonna sit down.
yeah, they've been there for several months, every day.
I saw it for a week. What's the legality on that? Can they do that legally since it's on city property?
They're
Those
not,
the
they're
women
just
that have
giving
the-
out brochures. It's kind of a, I don't know how to approach this. It's like a religious type deal. Just.
I know, that's
promoting-
why I was asking because.
There's just a couple of ladies in a lawn chair, and they'll have a stand with some pamphlets and.
I drove by, I saw that. They have a
I mean, they're
pallet.
not selling anything or doing anything, it's just handing out. And they've mentioned to me, I said, you know, they're fine, because it's not like they're selling anything or whatever, and they're
Just curious if there is any legality to it that is trying to.
not favor, said selling or something, that is different, that they're not
Okay.
selling. Trying to think what else.
So how much is the skate park being used?
It's hard to tell, during, well, school going on, you drive by it and it doesn't look like,
Usually.
I mean, it's never packed, I'll say that.
Lunch there yesterday.
But
Okay.
you know, like when I went to the last council, on my way through, there was probably 8 or 9 on it.
Good.
During the summer, it got used quite a bit in the morning. A lot of young ones with bicycles use it in the mornings. And of course with school, you know, school kids are in school, so it's hard to tell till maybe in the evenings. And then,
Weekends?
yeah,
I see them in the evenings over there.
but I know after one of the last council meeting, it's one of those times we had issues with the lights at the tennis court. And I gotta admit, it wasn't just pickleball. I was up there for about an hour messing with the timer and the lights, and all 8 courts, cars, it was just packed. And then I tried and drove around, you set the timer and you gotta wait for it to kick in. So by then I drove off over in the park on Park Street, and it was about 8:30 at night. And I was amazed. I mean, cars just up and down Park Street, and then cars constantly pulling in over to the tennis courts. I was like, I didn't realize State Board used that much, you know. And that was on a
Busy.
Tuesday. It wasn't just pickleball; it was both, you know, and tennis. And yeah, like I said, a lot of it's just a lot of odd jobs, getting head start on some maintenance on mowers since we're not using those. We're definitely staying busy. And so.
Any other questions for Frank? Sorry about trying to beat you up there. I just had a question about that.
I think everything else after this is golf. So if you're done with me,
You're out.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Appreciate
There they
you.
go.
y'all.
All right, golf course report, Director Dennis Bowman.
Good evening, everyone.
5 to 10 is yours.
All right. Anyway, you know, the weather's been fantastic. Golf course has been just busy. It's just been great for us.
How did we finish the year?
Last year,
Mm-hmm.
we,
And you finish, was it June?
the end of the year was June, so it was, $892, I think was our revenue, so.
I knew in August we didn't know just yet.
792, I can't remember, 792 or 892. What's that?
Well, I knew we didn't know in our August meeting for certain, because you were still
I
getting the books out.
pull it up here real quick, get you a lot better number. I've been waiting for them to get the financials, so they're working on, the city's working on their financial end.
Are they working on
And we'll do numbers.
closing the books for the year?
No, they closed them.
Okay,
Y'all probably didn't get those numbers.
I don't remember seeing those, but we may have, that doesn't mean anything. We could have got them.
So, the year before, we did 736 roughly, and then last year we did 791.
Revenues
Revenue.
over expenses of,
732 versus 791.
732 the year before on revenue, 791,
This year.
so you're up about 10%
right.
year over
And,
year.
Let me see, I know she sent that to me as expenses.
It's about 60 grand.
Not that email. Here it is. All right. That's July. Wrong one, that's July, New Year. Let's see. Here it is. All right, got it. At the end of June, our cash fund was 387,000. That's what we ended with in the bank
That's what we netted out. We've got, and that's
over all these years. That's what's
after
in
all
the
these
bank.
years.
Right,
That's your balance.
yeah. So our revenue, 784.
Okay,
Expenses, 686.
784 and 686, is that right?
Yeah.
So you're generating, annualized, that's about $100,000 a year to the good.
Yeah.
And You know what, it might be interesting in the next meeting, just since you're at an enterprise fund, that we could kind of see over the last 3 or 4 years if we're, maybe you know off the top of your head from a trend standpoint, are we clearing about $100,000 a year? Do you think that's pretty average, or is this a?
Yeah, that's the last 2 years.
Last 2 years?
Right, yep, and we're on a bigger track than that this year.
Good.
So, for the first 4 months, like I said, we did what, 782, what I say we did,
Yeah.
revenue? So, we are, for these first 4 months, counting October, trending 50,000 more in revenue than we did the first 4 months last year.
Annualized or just for the first 4 months?
Just for the first
For the
month,
first 4 months.
50,000 more ahead. So it's just, I mean, it's.
Now, that's a year over year, not revenues over expenses. 'Cause
Right.
we know the cash flow
Right,
is,
yeah.
yeah,
So
okay.
that's just comparing the revenue from July, August, September, and October to the revenue from this year to last year. Those 4 months were $50,000 ahead.
I think we know how to solve our problem. We just
And-
need to build more golf courses.
Yeah. You know, we have some growing pains out there. You know, we can't be this busy and not have some, but
Yeah.
we're working our way through all those. And but it's been great. It really has. So I think when I met with Courtney a couple weeks ago, and we're just trying to get some numbers of what we have in the bank, and it's over $500,000 in the bank
That's-
right now. So yeah.
That's a turnaround story.
Yes, it is. It's been really good, and now it just gives us some money to do more. You know, we got a lot of capital improvement things we need, you know, and but we got some funds to do some of that stuff with. We got, our list is big, but it's, anyway, so it's been really good. So that's where we're at there, and I can get it. You know, I have those numbers real easy on my desktop where I can show you where we've been scaling, trending up. 2019, our total revenue was $297,000. So that's since 19.
It'd be good to have
we're
a,
up.
kinda like a spreadsheet of
Serious.
the last 5 or so years, just to see.
I
what
have
the
all
trend is
that. Yeah,
going.
Yeah, I think
all-
that's a good idea.
I have all of that right there. That's just all I gotta do is print that.
Good job.
Yeah, if you could bring that
I
the
keep
next,
that.
that'd be good.
So, yeah, it's been trending really good for us. So.
And the app, was the app?
Sagacity app is just doing great. I thought I sent everybody the report, Sagacity report, so it shows we're up $5,000–6,000 every month compared to, because they just take our numbers from the year before, and so it's working really good. You know, I'm tickled to death with it. So, like I said, that we was kind of thinking that might generate another $50,000–$60,000, and I think it's right on pace to do
Looks like
that.
it's on track.
The golf course is just in great shape. I mean, it's probably some of the best shape it's ever been in, the condition of it, you know, so that's given us a lot of play. People, you know, a lot of Tulsa area, Claremore, all around. We're getting people from everywhere come play, so the condition of the course, and they're all bragging about it. So it's our hard work's been paying off. So we recently hosted a whole lot of tournaments, probably since I talked to you guys. Gold Bond out there, they make the wallboard out there in the industrial. They actually shut their plant down for a whole day to bring all their employees out. Of course, Bill Kennegeezer, he used to work for them and all that. He says that's just unprecedented for them to do something like that. But they've really changed their management style over the years, trying to do a lot more things for their employees. And but yeah, the president out there, he shut it down, and he plans on doing that twice a year now. So he shut it down and had a wonderful tournament for his employees, a lot of good prizes and a lot of, you know, participation, and so it's just really a fun day for those people. So a lot of companies are starting to do that, and I just think it's a wonderful idea. You know, give your employees a day off, let's go play golf and have a lot of team building and stuff like that. So we hosted that one. That one was good. We hosted the Danny Henson Memorial, the VFW tournament. That went great. It was one of the biggest ones we've had in a while. The Williams United Way, that was a big one. Williams United Way has gotten so big that we're doing a morning start and an afternoon start. So we have, you know, about 20 teams in the morning and about 10 or 15 in the afternoon. So it's getting to where we have a double starts on that. So it's really grown good. We hosted the Southsiders, which is just an organization of a bunch of guys that go around, play play tournaments at different courses once a month throughout the year. We hosted the Ray Family Foundation. It's just like what Gold Bond does. You know, they raise a lot of money for their family foundation, and I don't know how much truth it is, but they say, you know, if one of their employees say, hey man, we need some money for some food or something, the foundation just takes care of them. So it's really a neat idea about helping take care of your employees. We also hosted a new tournament this year, is Life Smart. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Life Smart kids, but that's the first time I was familiar with them, and so I'm not that smart. These kids are smart. But anyway, they do a lot of great things, so it's really fun to get these kids out there and host a tournament and raise some money so they can go to the national event, some kind of competition that they do. But anyway, so that's a really neat one. Then after that, we hosted the Ray Employee Appreciation Tournament. So Ray kind of did what Gold Bond did. They just had a tournament out there just for their employees. So we had about 50 of them show up. They had, you know, so that was a really good fun deal. And then Elite had their little tournament for their employees. We also hosted the U.S. Kids Championship. So we've been hosting the U.S. Kids tournaments twice a year. For this fall, we hosted their championship. So they play all year long, and they have a championship at the end, and they award a bunch of nice trophies to the highest points players and all that. So it's kind of really neat feather in my hat to be able to host a championship for those kids. And 122 kids come from everywhere, and parents and grandparents. We had them from everywhere, and a lot of them come in the day before, so I know they had to stay at the hotels and eat restaurants and everything because they're out there playing on Saturday evening, and so that was a fun one. Sunday we hosted, yesterday I guess, the Inola Longhorn tournament. They raised money for their golf team. We had 92 players in a Sunday afternoon for that event, so that one went really good. We just set up the regionals. We're going to get to host the boys and girls regionals here at the golf course next spring in April. Late April and early May we'll be hosting regionals. This year we hosted conference. So let's see. And just like this month, the weather's been so good this month. Last year in October was our record month as far as how many people paid to play, which was 1,250 people paid to pay in last October. We're probably going to do close to 1,500 this October. It's just the weather's just been phenomenal, you know. We just got everything's going good. Weather's good, the golf course is good, so I plan on doing the Christmas special again. I think we'll need to raise some rates comes, you know, first of the year. We haven't raised our cart building rates in a long time, our trail run fees in a long time. They've been at the same price for a long time. The demand is there. I've got, probably 15 people at least on the waiting list. So that's going to be a real slow turnaround. So those people have to wait for a long time. But I think because of that demand and, you know, prices going up on chemicals and everything, fuel and everything, you know, we need to increase that just a little bit. So I'll be bringing some recommendations back to you guys on that. But as far as...
And isn't that, just as a side, isn't that a fairly unique model
Yeah, very
that we've
unique.
got here?
Right, and it's a good thing and a bad thing, right? It helps guys that play a lot of golf, but the other courses that don't have that, they have to rent those carts. So their cart rental goes way up. So, but it gives us a base of people that are constantly loyal to our course, so to speak, and so the loyalty really helps. So, but it's got to be priced right too, you know, so that the golf course still gets the revenues, you know, so we can make these capital improvements. We got to keep making some nice capital improvements every year, you know, because it's just that's a big thing out there to maintain. We got so many buildings and restrooms, you know, things that we got to keep on doing, equipment. So it's just a lot to maintain, and so we want to keep making sure we're in the positive to to maintain those capital improvements.
And I say this publicly because in the past, we've had, when we go through this process of raising those rates, we get pushback and some people,
Oh, yeah.
you know, but hopefully they understand that the demand's there for those cart stalls.
Right,
There's a lot of play.
right.
The city's giving up, the golf
Lot of
course giving
revenue.
up money doing
Right.
that.
And they're playing at such a reduced rate, it's very, very economical.
You can play every day. You got your own cart there. It's a great value.
Right, and, you know, their benefits is they get to set their cart up and have all their comforts like they want it, so.
Yeah.
The value is very, very good for the money that they pay.
So anybody else some of you that are golfers, when you hear that, you may hear that, might be able to articulate that value proposition that this is really a pretty good deal.
And I'm not talking about-
Awfully convenient and awfully nice, which adds to the play. The
Right.
convenience of that adds to people playing.
Right, and I'm not talking about a big raise, but I think just the right percentage of raise would be appropriate.
How long's it been since you've raised the rate?
I have to go back and look, it's been a long time on those.
Years.
Long time on the cart buildings.
How do we
yes.
set competitively with other courses and?
There's- See, that's not,
There's
there's,
not, I was gonna try to think of one
Yeah,
around
there's-
this, there's
there's-
not.
it's kinda like comparing apples to oranges, nobody really has a model like we have, that's why he was saying, we have a unique model out here.
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
somebody just came in and wanted to play, rent a cart and play, that's
Yeah,
all.
so it's about, you know, well, for most courses like that, around $2,200, you know, is what they'd pay annually for that.
Okay, for that.
And like our seniors are playing for $13.78, you know, so they're getting a really good bargain, you know, and now they're using their cart instead of our cart, so that, you know, offsets a little bit of that.
If you go to
But we're paying for the labor.
Claremore or someplace like that and just show up and get
It's
maybe
a
green
lot
peas
higher.
in a cart, it's about pretty well competitive.
Yeah, I think they're like, they may even be, I did talk to him the other day about that, but I didn't write down the numbers, but I think they're like $2,400 over at Claremore
I mean, just.
to bring
run
your
around.
cart on.
I mean, for 18 in a cart.
Oh,
someplace, yeah,
I'm sorry, for 18 holes in a cart?
yeah.
Well, it depends on what time of day, you know, you're talking weekdays, twilight, or weekends. Our weekend rate's 44,
Okay.
you know, so. And these guys are, I don't know, I hadn't figured out, most of them will play 70, 80, 100 rounds. So, it's just, I just feel really that's due, it's a good time to raise it. The golf course needs it, because we still want, you know, got a lot of capital improvements.
It's cost a lot more.
Yep.
It's a lot more.
Well, Dennis,
Any other questions?
Dennis, if you hold tight here,
Yep.
we'll skip number 6 and go to number 7, discuss possible recommend council's action to hire a golf equipment manager via Express Employment Professionals at a pay rate of $16.60 per hour. This position is listed on the city's pay plan as range T.
Need a motion?
Second,
Second.
roll call, please.
Well, I
Well,
have a
let's
couple
have
questions.
discussion.
Okay, sorry.
I do have a couple questions. So, where is this coming out of? What fund is that coming out of? Is
So
it,
let me explain that to you just a little bit. What I'm wanting to do is move Chris Hurt into this position. He's a temp worker. He's gonna stay a temp worker. It's still a temp position right now.
so he's already hired out there, right?
He's been working with us for 2 years as a temp. And so his pay rate's a little bit lower than that. So what I'm trying to do, he's done really good, but I'm really wanting to make sure that as I transition a person into a city position, because right now, the city payroll is just me and Alan. And it was me, Alan, and Scott, and then, you know, Scott went on to another job. So I want to make sure when I do fill that position that I'm really comfortable with that person. So he's been with us 2 years as a temp, so I'm just trying to move him up. And then the next position, if he continues to do good, would be to put him on the city payroll, which he'd get the benefits from. So this is just a temp position, just changing his pay rate as a temp and giving him a title, because he, you know, he takes care of all the supervisory duties on the maintenance staff on Sundays and Mondays. Alan does Tuesday through Saturdays. And and also when Alan's not there, he fills in for that.
So for the most part, it's financially neutral?
And no, it's just, we're increasing
Yeah,
the
a little bit. but
rate just a
it's
little
not
bit.
another FTE,
Right.
basically, it's just where it's,
Right,
But where is those funds coming out of though, to do that raise?
just out of the temp wages.
Is that in the general fund, or is
No,
that
no,
in
this is-
capital
we'll-
outlay, or?
Golf course has nothing to do with general fund.
Okay,
It's all about
okay,
golf course budget. So it just comes out of my temp budget.
and you have it in your budget to be able to do
Yeah,
that?
yeah. And I actually have that position to be filled as a city employee, but I don't wanna fill it yet till I can find the right person and make sure I'm comfortable with that. Does that make sense? If I'm just wanting to move Chris up to this position and continues to do good, then we'll make him
So how much of a pay raise is it, going
Like
from what?
$3, I think, something like that. So, and he's done just great. He's worked 2 years. Can't say nothing about the guy. He just does really good. So I'm just trying to, I don't wanna lose him, cause if something happens to Alan, then we have nobody out there. If I lose, I can lose 2 of them real quick, how this time of day is. And so I don't wanna lose him. I wanna keep making it worth his while to be there and reward him for all the good work that he has done so far.
Now, how does that work with the temp agency? Like, you just recommend to them that you're gonna pay him more, or what? Because I know that, did they
What-
not pay him?
If you guys approve it, then council approves it, then I just call the temp agency and they just raise his rate.
What's under his scope? Using the term equipment manager, is that, what's your definition there of equipment is
I
scope?
have that all typed out. We have that position, list all typed out, but
Well,
it's
I'm
right.
not that specific, I'm just trying to figure out, is this what used to be the mechanic?
Yes, yeah,
So he is
Same
the
thing.
mechanic.
right,
So he's got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment
exactly.
that he's
taking-
managing and maintaining.
Correct, he's maintaining, changing oil and doing all that stuff. fixing
All preventive
pipes, everything.
maintenance,
Yep.
anything breaks, fix.
And he's doing the irrigation, fixing all the irrigation sprinklers. I've been training him for
Okay.
the last 2 years, and like today, we was out there and he fixes the sprinklers, so, yeah, he does a great job for what he gets paid. It's just like unbelievable. It'd be really hard to find somebody at that rate, to do what he does already. He's got the best attitude of anybody.
Well, it's a critical position with as much
Yes.
equipment that's out there, and if
It
it's
is.
down,
Yeah.
things go south pretty quick.
Our equipment is very expensive. We got good equipment and we keep it maintained, and that's a big part of, making your equipment last is the maintenance on it.
Any other discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Graybill,
Yes.
Reeser,
yes.
Buffington,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Graves,
Yes?
Shelby.
Yes. Number 8, discuss possible recommend to council action to allow Dennis Bowman to place a golf simulator in the back of the Clark building. The equipment will be purchased by Bowman as a teaching tool.
Y'all need to,
Oh, we have
Recommend
to
and-
have a,
you need to, or do you want me to just go straight to discussion?
Well,
do we not have to do a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
okay, second
Second.
discussion.
So what I'm wanting to do, a lot of these golf courses have places for the pro to teach, and I just don't have any place to teach when the weather's bad, so, that's what we're really trying to do is get me a place to teach. The statistics show that the more you're able to teach at a golf course, the more people enjoy the game, the more it grows the game. So, we have some area back there that I could utilize during the weather, when the weather's bad. The high school will be able to use it. A lot of people be able to enjoy that space. When the weather's bad, to be able to hit balls into a simulator and improve their golf swings. And it's really, it's a fancy thing. It's, I don't know if some of y'all may have been to golf simulators, but it's about a $50,000 investment for me, so I have to make that back through teaching and everything, so. I just think it's a good thing for the golf course. It'll bring people out there that through the winter time, and will work on their games, and it gives me a place to teach.
So I have a couple questions with this. So you're personally buying it?
Yes, I have,
You just want the space to be able to put it up?
right.
Okay, so then the legalities in my mind is, if you're using city space, city equipment, are you charging a fee to teach those classes? And if so, then legally, where do we stand with that?
Well, I do that now anyway. I charge a fee out there when where I'm outside, just a matter of being able to do it inside also. And that's pretty common at most golf courses. All the golf pros teach and get their fees.
There's adequate space, you're not dislodging anything, it's
No.
just, it gives you a place to put it
Yep.
inside.
Right.
Same teaching, same things that are going now, nothing
Yeah.
else changes.
Can't teach during the winter time, and I've actually even had conversations, about with Mike Moore about doing something at the rec center, but it's just better off to me at the golf course.
So you're making improvement upon the building.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be improvements to
Maybe
the
that's a better
building,
way to
that's for
say it.
sure.
So is it gonna be open for other people to use for the simulation, or is it just for your teaching
It'll be, I mean, they won't be able to use it for free, because, but yeah, we'll have people in there using it, whether it's, I'm teaching or they're just going in there to use the simulator.
It's not uncommon for golf courses.
Shangri-La up there, they have 2 of them. They got a real nice room. They got 2 nice simulators, probably about almost as big as this room.
Yeah.
So is the revenue for them to use it, that would be going in, feeding back into the golf course?
No, the revenue would go back to me, because I'm the one spending all the money for it.
Right.
And that's part of my teaching deal, I teach, and I wouldn't mind, I think it'd be fair if I paid the electric bill in there, something like that, to take care of it that way.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering if there needs to be some kind of offset if you're using it for personal expense to and I know that you're setting up, you're paying for the device itself, but you're also using city facilities to do the rental, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the softball does it,
Like a
baseball does it,
rental or-
football does it. They have
Yeah.
city facilities that they use.
Right.
They don't pay, there's not much difference in it.
But I think Autumn is asking, and this is a real, we've got a unique setup
True.
out there, but these are valid questions. And I'm not weighing in on either side. I'm not sure how we've run into this in the past. To complicate this a little bit, Dennis is a city employee.
True.
Right? Dennis is selling, we've got an agreement, and trust me, it's to our benefit. We've got an agreement with a pro shop. But this is another one of those things where Dennis is selling services on
City property.
city property, and we don't have, he's on city payroll at this time and not on city payroll at this time.
Right.
And so this gets kind of a little,
Great.
I mean, I wanted to validate your point. You're asking a really good question. Trying to create these lines, I think one of the benefits we have is we've got an enterprise fund here. We're not dealing with a general fund.
Right.
But at the enterprise fund, we just need to have an awareness of it. And I'm not for sure what the answer is. I think it will, we need to ask a question, does it take revenue away from the golf course? Will people come out there to do the simulator and not play golf? Probably not. I mean, they don't. It'll probably be used, like you say, for a teaching aid, and maybe in the wintertime, if golf's bad, you may get people come out and want to hit the simulator. And would that take money away from the golf course, which the city gets? And we got to think about that is an asset out there that's been built over the years, but none of us have money invested in that. The city's invested the money in it. So I don't have an answer. I'm just saying, you know, it may be something we want to sit down and talk about at some point. I don't have a real big issue with this, but I think it points out the bigger deal of, we've got a separate contract on the pro shop. Dennis has also got, I don't know if you guys has got a bonus program as a city employee. In that so many rounds are played and the way we incentivized, and you've also done a fantastic job. We have never been in this good a position in golf course, but Dennis has an incentive program that if he can generate more rounds for more money for the city, he gets a percentage of that.
And I get 100% of my lessons.
It's 100% of his lessons. And it's all worked out because we're making money and we're providing. But this can get, and the last thing I'll throw in here, Dennis is not 35 years old. He's closer to my age, which means an old timer retired. One of these days he's going to decide he wants to move to Florida and live down there. But we're going to have somebody else move in.
Right.
And we're gonna have to deal with this. So I'm just raising this. These are great questions, and that's the reason I wanted that.
And having a teaching area, indoor teaching area, is a bonus for somebody coming in. I mean, because if you go, you know, for example, Sand Springs, similar situation to our golf course, right? The pro has a contract real similarly to what we do, even a little bit more. So he does even more on his contract. He takes care of all the maintenance and everything through their contract.
Oh, yeah.
But this doesn't change any posture of what the arrangements are now. It allows maybe some more revenues for teaching, and there's some offsets to that could be positive, of course, you know. If it's rainy day, I doubt anybody's gonna be out there playing anyway, and there may be some teaching and some time for that, but, I hear what you're saying, and it is a valid point, but it doesn't change the posture right now. And
Well, here's where the president is we've done this, but if somebody comes in and says, I want to take our ball fields and start setting up tournaments and running tournaments out of Pryor ball fields, or I want the tennis courts, and we've run into this, people want to teach lessons on the tennis courts and generate funds for themselves, but they take this isn't the case here, but, so the city assets that people are using this to generate running a small business, we just have to have an awareness of it and understand this gets kind of tricky.
The legalities.
Yes. Who you let do it, do you go out for bid, all that kind of stuff.
They, Sand Springs, their municipal golf course, that he has one in his shop right there. La Fortune, they have one in theirs. So South Lakes, I believe, has an area that they have indoor teaching. So, and in the country, a lot of the country clubs, all of them pretty well have one now.
So you actually can be pulling people that we're losing right now
100%.
that are going someplace
Yep,
else
they're
by you
going-
doing it there. So you're actually bringing us an asset,
Right.
is the way I'm looking at it.
100%. It's a service and asset, so the people driving to Tulsa
Right,
or
you're
other
drawing
area
them back
places,
here.
they can be able to do something right here.
The only thing that I worry about, again, is the legalities, and those other places may have those facilities as well, but are they privately is it the same situation where it's a private individual using the city's facilities to do something, or is it the city providing those classes and the city benefiting from it? So I understand that those other cities may have that, but I worry about, again, like the precedents that it's setting, but also the legalities of.
From my understanding, and I haven't seen their contracts, I'm not gonna read his contract, but the pro over at Sand Springs, that's his, they put it in there for him, and he uses it, 100%. The one at La Fortune, the guy that manages La Fortune in South Lakes, and that's all his stuff, and he's in the city building. I don't know what their contract is, but I know it's his.
And you're providing it for us, and you're not
Right.
charging us.
Right.
So,
it's just providing our golf course an additional service.
drawing in people we're losing that are going these other
Right.
places, especially when the weather's bad.
Yeah, when the weather's bad, if they wanna go, they gotta go all the way to Tulsa. I mean, there's
People
no
here.
place around here that will have something like that, so they're gonna drive to Tulsa if the weather's bad. And I know a lot of guys did last year, you know, cause the simulators have gotten really big over the last 2 or 3 years. It's a big deal. And matter of fact, the young man that works for me out there, and if y'all know Mason, he works for me, last winter, he was going to Tulsa just to hit on the simulators a lot. He did that a lot. But anyway.
Any other discussion?
And I always want it to be fair, with the city, 100%. I don't want it to be taking advantage of anything like that. I want it to be a good deal for the city, or I don't even want to do it.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I think this board has to understand too that we just need to understand some of the intricacies of these decisions. And, somebody else, I feel like sound like I'm trying to stack the deck here again, but I'm not.
Right.
But if other private citizen came forward and said, hey, park board, would you allow me to go out to the golf course and put a simulator in?
Create an issue.
Then we've got to figure out, we can deal with that when it happens, if it happens. But we need to recognize that there may be, that kind of stuff can happen.
Well,
So like on that question, in my contract, I'm the only one allowed to teach out there. Nobody else
Okay.
allowed to teach.
well, as we know, and talking to Dennis, and I said it on the couple of meetings ago, that's something we need to sit down and start making job description of the next golf superintendent, expectations, and what are they, and from
Yeah.
what Dennis has to what we need to restructure it to, or however. Now's the time to start looking at it to get it ready.
And I have one out there. We go over and modify it,
Yeah.
however y'all choose.
It would be helpful probably to do that here.
Yeah, winter's
Fairly soon,
coming,
because I'm sure
so
you're-
have more time.
You've got some time in your head. All right, so we got discussion, we've got approval, so get a vote.
Reeser,
Yes.
Buffington,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Graves,
Yes,
Shelby,
Yes.
Graybill.
No.
Number 9, discuss possible recommend council action to increase the budget amount and I can't even see it, I don't have my glasses, golf capital outlay account 41-415-5411 from $175,000 to $285,000 for the installation of a new golf cart pass. The total budget amount includes Cherokee Nation grant funds in the amount of $25,000. Make them.
So moved. Second.
So the reason why I have this on here is when we first set that budget 4 or 5 months ago, seemed like so it was maybe 4 months ago, we weren't sure how much money we were going to have then, so I wanted to be conservative with that. Now we know more where our money is and the cost of the project, so I want to make sure that we get everything done out there we need done, and that's what did y'all see the numbers I sent you? We really don't want to talk about them too much because that's going to go out for bid. But I want to just make sure we have enough money that, hey, we need to get this done, and we have the money in our account. We just need to be approved to spend that much for this, or up to that much, and then we can get everything done that needs to be done, and of course, cash account still be in good shape.
So does that mean some money will come out of your, basically, I would call it your general fund to the capital fund, that 300?
Yes, that just comes out of our cash fund.
And that amount would be about $100,000 would come out of there? Look it
Yeah,
over?
right.
Okay.
But you think-
And the 285 represents what we expect, some of those things, you sent some things out, that's about the estimate on this. We get back into some of this discussion we've already had. but-
It's a little bit more than the engineer's estimate.
Okay.
So, but I want to make sure that, you never know how these bids will come in, and
I was gonna say, do you have any contingency in that, just in case?
Yes,
whenever
yeah,
it
the
comes-
engineer-
You have some built contingency in that number?
yes, he had contingency in there, I think it was 8% or something like that.
8%, okay, okay.
I can tell you exactly what it was. I gotta find it here. Too many text messages. 5% contingency of 10,700.
How much? 10,000?
10,700, yeah, that's his contingency.
So you said the difference is, the increase, it's coming out of like our revenue funds is moving over into the outlay
Yeah.
funds, is that what you're
Yeah.
doing?
It's coming out of the cash fund, it's money, you know, we have our cash fund, money's in the bank, we only budgeted so much. We just wanna move
And
a
there's
little bit
plenty
more.
in there for you to move over.
Yes, that's why I
That's
said
not
it's
gonna
over
pull you
500,000
on
in there,
anything
so I feel real comfortable with adding a little bit more, and that's still gonna leave us, you know, over $200,000 in the bank going in the winter time, which is very good for us.
So will this allow us to do more paths then? Is that,
It will allow us to do maybe a little bit more, yeah. We don't know till the bids come in, but I'm hoping so, yeah. I just wanna make sure we have enough in there to get everything that really needs to be done.
Critical part.
The critical parts, right. And if we do some others, that'll still be good.
Now, did this include the parking lot?
Yes, that includes the parking lot and everything, yep. Which,
I did have a question related to, have you got an estimate of what you got, I mean, this is a fairly large expenditure. What you think it will take us on an annual basis, we should budget for maintenance and preservation of the cart paths?
Yeah.
Preventative type maintenance and things to keep these things in good condition. Have you got a feel for that?
I talked to the engineer about that, and I asked him, so, you know, to keep these things in good shape, we need to be able to put that, oil on them, I can't remember what they call that. You know, where you go in and just, they spray it.
Sealant?
Sealant, yeah, the sealant, they go in there and seal them every so often, and so I asked him to get me some numbers on that. And so I haven't seen those yet, but we'll be talking to him, and I think that's, you know, that way we can put that into a budget. Every 5 years, they need to be sealed, and then it'll last forever.
I think it'd be good to document our maintenance program for those
Right,
and say,
yep,
going forward every year, we need to allocate so much money to that. And
right.
I don't know what the useful life is of them if you do maintenance on them, but
Well, these, without really, you know, ever being sealed, lasted, it was done, I think, around 95, about 30 years.
wow,
Imagine that.
you know what? Scratch that. I'll be dead by then. So 30 years.
But if they
No, I
were,
think it's,
yeah, if they were sealed, then I don't know, but I'll ask the engineer, because that was some of my thoughts too. If they was sealed every 10 years,
Yeah.
you know, whatever is a
You know,
normal, I don't know
10,000
on that.
Or figure out
Right.
whatever it is and just put it in our.
yeah,
a
anytime we
good
do a
idea.
new project, and I meant to say something about the skate park too. We need to know what should we budget for annual maintenance
put that new.
on these facilities when we
Yep.
put them in?
And
So we
put-
don't get ourselves in a position of, they fall in disrepair and then we don't have enough money to fix them.
Right, put a line item in it, it's just
Yeah.
budgeted every year, whether it's $1,000, whatever it takes to, whatever
Yeah,
it takes.
perfect.
But I'll find out from Dale on that, the engineer.
That's a good point.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And we'll get
One
back
more?
to number 6, discussion regarding bridges
Oh, yeah.
at the golf course.
So, I went down, Bill Kenny, Geezer, and I went down to Elite to see how the bridges were coming. They have one completely done, and what he's wanting to do, he's gonna build 3 the first time, and then has to bring a crane out there, and he wants to do 3 at a time, and, bring them all out and use the crane at one day to set them all and everything. So it's going really good. The bridge looks good. I do have a picture. I don't know if anybody wants to see it, but I do have a picture of it there, and,
What's our cost for these?
it's everything's been donated, so it's, yeah, we may have a small cost on, and I'll just take that out of my regular budget for maybe some concrete work, when we set the bridges, we'll have to taper some concrete into them, but the bridges looked really nice. I mean,
I don't know what we do.
Grill some hot dogs or something.
Some-
Yeah.
He's got a ton of money invested in this.
yeah, and well, not only that, there's been, several other people that's donated to the project. I know Pryor Stone, Williams, Ray Corp, I know Class 10's fixing to make a donation, so there's quite a few people that and of course Elite, you know, so it's a big effort to,
Appreciation all those that donate,
Yeah.
like
it's
that.
kinda hard to see, this is sitting on some stands, but they just painted it, and,
Oh,
it's
wow.
got nice rails, they'll put decking all
It
across,
does look
all
nice.
across that, and,
Looks sturdy.
so, yeah, it's a really good bridge. They'll have decking that goes all across the sides there and everything, so.
Here's a little ton of money.
Yeah, it's gonna be a nice bridge and everything.
You could fix your golf cart up as a hot rod.
And so this is the first one, we're working on the second one now.
Carts and
And we
bridges.
have how many total?
Can you
Five.
make,
5.
can you make the carts go quicker now that we're gonna have bridges and everything? You see it.
Are you gonna have a racetrack out there?
Any other questions for Dennis?
Does, I mean, they're designed and engineered appropriately,
Yeah,
to protect everybody from any liability, and all those things have been done.
Yeah, you could probably drive trucks across these bridges,
Yeah.
but yes, yeah, they're really good. The only other thing, I am gonna be having conversations with the guy on the golf carts, cause I think we really need to have that contract in place in a couple of 2 or 3 months.
Yep.
And then that way we can get them in July for our next fiscal budget.
Awesome. Any other questions for Dennis? Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Floyd. Number 6, discuss possible recommend council's action to approve the 2025 park board meeting schedule.
Is it changing?
Need a motion?
Motion.
Oh. I'll
Second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Number 11, unforeseeable business. Seeing none, hearing none. Number 12, adjourn. Get a motion, please.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
He motioned, I seconded.